or put your name or shame, cover up your face. You can't run the race, the pace is too fast, it just won't last.
XCW's Men of Honor. Today, I have a great panel with me. We have a former world champion, many companies, Mr. 187 Genocide, who last was the XCW champion in the 2010 season. We have Hazard, who won his first XCW championship in a death match, Greed 2005. Current XCW champion, two-time XCW champion in his own right, diehard Corey Lee. And someone who is yet to win the championship, but is definitely on the right path to getting there. The untamable James Cerebral. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me here. For Men of Honor, our topic is the XCW Championship and XCW Champions past and present. So, I gotta ask, what are your guys' main feelings on the championship overall? What does the XCW Championship mean to you?
The XCW Championship means more to me than anything else, winning it. Especially at the different events you go for it, winning it too. I mean, I've won it 4 times from 4 different people. You were one of them. Chris Jones. Let's see, who else did I beat? I beat you twice. When I even beat Dylan and all that. Well, it's a good feeling winning that title over the other world titles that I've won in other companies.
And where else have you won world titles?
Well, I've won it in UIWE, HCW. Those were alright times, I guess. I mean, I had Hazard with me, Chris Jones. Those were fun times because I had them, but not with Justin personally.
Well, how does the BYWE and HCW titles, how do all of them compare to the XCW? What makes XCW so special?
Because this is home. Because you and me started this back in 2003, and we've made it to where it is now. That's why it's me so special to me.
Corey Lee, you're the current XCW champion, and you've won the championship twice now. One of your XCW championships you won from a good friend of yours, Brandon Hobbs. The other one you won from Nightmare recently. What does the XCW championship mean to you?
What does it mean to me? Well, it means I'm the face of this company right now.
That's definitely something that I can agree with. Yeah.
It means I'm at the top of the company. I'm at the top of the heap that everybody's got to go through now. Of course, I got to face people like Genocide, Hazard, most likely James Cerebral eventually. You never know.
Yourself.
And yourself. And yourself. And yourself,
Thank
of
you.
course. Yes. One day. One day. You never know. One day. But still, there's one person I technically do want to wrestle with the title on the line, and that would most likely be Chris Jones. Because I want a serious fight with him. Just one time for the title. And hopefully one day I have that.
So, at one point you did wrestle with UIW. Though you weren't champion there, in comparison, you know, what would be more special to you if you would have captured that UIW championship, or if just being the XCW champion 2 times now?
Personally, I prefer being XCW champion. It really wouldn't have made a difference if I was UIW champion. Because I know I probably wouldn't have held it very long. Probably would have changed the next day.
Or without you even knowing.
Yes, without me even knowing. I mean, I don't want to wrestle for somebody that's going to change everything on the fly.
Or you probably would have lost it the same day.
Yeah, most likely the same day.
Yeah, your teammates turn against you. It's happened to me. But Hazard, I know that your first XCW championship was really special to you. You've owned your own companies. You've been to other companies. You know, you've wrestled for UIW and BYWE, and you and Justin Parsley ran HCW. You were the owner of NAW, and then after all of that came to XCW, and you've won your championships. You know, you've won them from the best. You know, Cynical, Chris Jones. You know, what does the XCW Championship mean to you?
It's probably the most special one because here you have those unforgettable matches,
I agree with
death
that.
matches. You know, death matches. I honestly, in my eyes, I may have brought the death match, but it's not me that has made them.
That's right.
It's been the people in the match with me. You, Chris Jones. I've won my titles here. The most best times are here in XCW. I mean,
But how does the XCW Championship compare to even the company that you owned in AW? What makes XCW, how is XCW so prestigious compared to the NAW title? That was just as an important company in the 2004 season as XW's.
NAW was sister to XCW. And a lot of NAW stars still make appearances here at XCW. And NAW, honestly, I only held probably twice the entire time. And they weren't long lived, really, because those weren't my best days. At the time, Signet Cheney, at the time was named at the time. He had my number at that time. So that was just,
Think of the pun.
they just didn't have, it just wasn't XCW affordable, you know, and it's just been better.
So to all of you, the XCW Championship is more prestigious than any backyard wrestling company in Shelbyville wrestling, backyard wrestling history. So this is a very prestigious honor to hold an XCW Championship. James Cerebral, you have never held the XCW Championship, nor have you had the opportunity, but you're still young, and this was your first season, the 2011 season, so we're coming in strong in 2012, and you've definitely built yourself as a competitor already. Not ever being an XCW champion, what does the XCW Championship mean to you?
I don't know. I ain't won it. I ain't had that feeling yet.
But, there has to
I
be
want
some
it.
kind of goal.
I want it.
But what does it mean to you? Why would you want that?
I want the power. The power.
Anything else?
I want to be the best. And to be the best, you gotta go through the best. If it means you, genocide, this guy, or that guy, or that guy, or that guy, it don't matter. I'm not gonna stop.
I'm Hazard, by the way, nice to meet you.
No, I want it. I'm not gonna stop until I'm on top.
That's what I say too.
The XCW Championship, actually, the belt that we have now originated in the XCW in the 2004 season, and around May, the championship first debuted. The championship was actually awarded to Genocide, the very first time. The belt's definitely been handed through many people. Let's talk about one champion specifically here. And that champion is the longest reigning XCW champion in history. Especially for Genocide and Hazard here. What can you recall about the longest running XCW champion, Cynical's title reign?
I'll say this, that was a great title reign for him.
And it was like a stepping stone. That was his rookie year.
Right. He went through some, how can I put it? He went through some badass matches. He kicked ass as the champion.
One match that stands out in my mind as him being an XCW champion is he faced Hazard in one match. Hazard gave him the FU. Cynical jumped to his feet, did this crazy cutter thing, and Cynical somehow beat Hazard And Hazard's actually never beaten Cynical until the last XCW Championship that Cynical held in his final match in the XCW. So, how was that in the Iron Man match against Cynical? How did it feel to finally beat him and to regain that championship? Canadian Army came to an end.
No, I had fun times with Cynical. Canadian Army. Dude to hoot. Finally getting to beat somebody that you've never been able to do is just an accomplishment for you. Chalk that one up on the chalkboard and move on to the next. But Cynical was different. This one's a little mark. It was a carving into a tree.
What do you guys remember from Cynical's championship reign from 2004?
I got one. That would have been, let's say, Halloween Havoc. Him and Chris Jones in the ladder match.
In the flaming table.
And him cutting his finger.
Cut it, and the insides of his finger were actually hanging out.
Mine was, I'm refresh me here. Was the him and Azuro match
Oh,
part of that where he got knocked out
Yeah.
and could not kick out, but we later found out time limit had actually.
The time limit had expired, yes. So, or it seemed like Azrael won the XCW Championship. It was later reversed due to a time limit. So, it was a big deal back then. But you wrestled in the XCW while Cynical was champion in the 2009 season, leading into his match against Hazard. What do you remember from Cynical's reign?
Well, what do I remember from Cynical's reign? I know he was crazy. God, I know he was crazy, and I know I would have liked to wrestle him with the title on the line. But, you know, since he's away from us now.
You never got the opportunity to wrestle Cynical.
No, I didn't. I would have liked that opportunity. I probably would have good match right there. Probably would have been a good match.
I can agree with that. That'd be awesome. And Cynical never, he never really had a bad match. I mean, first time he ever wrestled Stingray, we just threw him in there. And me and Hazard were talking. We're like, don't know how this is going to turn out, you know. Cynical went in there, boom. They just had a beautiful match. It was one of the best matches of the entire show. And then me and Hazard even had a match in that show, and hands down, Cynical and Stingray stole the show that night.
I just want to say, I've wrestled him twice. And once in the 6-man, the Dancing Trio against PK2, and me and him in the singles for the international title.
Yes.
That is one of my favorite matches of all time, is with him. He is great to work, great to wrestle.
Now let's talk about how this prestigious title came about. In the very first XCW show in 2003, I mean, we've seen many bouts in that show. You know, we've seen Nitro Boy, Brendan Stickle. We've seen the show start off with Nightmare and Psycho Circus Con, a table match, and Eternal Darkness running out, beating down Nightmare. I mean, we've seen all kinds of things in this show. Biohazard, Donnie Dark, Dr. Love at the time, and Enrique Lowe, and, you know, matches of that sort. But in the end of the show, all of these men came together, cruiserweight or not, and wrestled in a battle royal for the XCW Championship. And in the end of that battle royal, we crowned the first XCW champion, Dylan Boston. What do you remember from that?
I remember that was a tough battle royal because wrestling, everybody, you got to do what you can to last to the end.
That's probably the hardest battle royal I've ever been in my life.
But the thing is, though, if you look at it, is, I don't know if this is going to be a topic or not, but Dylan did win the battle royal. He won the title. And you got to think of, look where he's at now.
Sure.
He went from being the XCW champion, the first ever XCW world champion, and now he's practically on top of the world.
Well, let's talk about currently. Corey Lee is the XCW champion. Honestly, Hazard, what do you think of Corey Lee as a champion?
Corey Lee is Corey Lee.
He's a very talented wrestler.
Very good wrestler. I currently hold the Money in the Bank. And don't know when yet. Don't know when yet. I'll pick my right time. I would personally, I know it would suck, cashing in on Corey Lee. Just so I can say I have wrestled Corey Lee. Because I have wanted to wrestle Corey Lee for a while.
We've never had a Hazard versus Corey Lee matchup.
I would like to wrestle Corey Lee. He would be a good match. Two different styles matching is always a good match in my eyes. Whether it be super heavyweight and cruiserweight, or, just that high flyer and devil, Good one.
Is there anything from Corey Lee's title reign that stands out in your mind, whether it was his first title reign after beating Brandon Hobbs, or this title reign now after beating Nightmare?
What sticks out really to me is how we got there. Think about it.
He definitely
He
worked his
was-
way up.
Cruiserweight.
Wrestling Dorgon, just insane every week. That's right.
Yeah. And then moving up international. And then next thing you know, he's lasting almost to the very end at the Extreme King.
Genocide did win.
And now he's
And that's something you normally don't see in the XCW. I mean, a lot of times, guys come in and they jump right for it. They don't work up the same way. Dylan Bostic, he was well deserved in that championship win. But, there's been people like DTC, who's wrestled for a number of years before XCW. And he worked out as an international champion and tag team champions. And finally it culminated in 2004 when he defeated Genocide for his one and only XCW championship. He definitely worked his way up the same way that Corey Lee did for a number of years. And that's something that you don't see a lot nowadays. Nightmare is another one. Nightmare has won every single XCW championship, other than the New Age title, because it's a new championship. Nightmare had won every single championship that he was eligible for. And then finally, from 2003 to 2011, won the championship for the first time. James Cerebral, what stands out in your mind in Corey Lee's title reign?
He's a good champ. He's
can
held
agree
it
with that.
for a while now. He knows what he's doing. Takes a beating.
One of the main things that stand out for me, I'm a big fan of SummerMania. SummerMania is our biggest, most prestigious show of the year. And Corey Lee had a tough act to follow this year in SummerMania, the debut of Crisis and the King of the Mountain with Tommy Merriman Crisis, Genocide Fletch and Chris Jones, and some of the crazy things that Chris Jones does. A lot of things happened this year at SummerMania, and another one of those being the championship scramble match. That was a great match with James Cerebral, LOL, DTC, Nightmare, Drago. Corey Lee, being he's going into his match, his first opportunity at the XCW Championship. He's going against Brandon Hobbs, a former friend. This is his first opportunity on the biggest show of the year. And he came out on top. He was the XCW champion in the end. And that's one of the main things that stands out for me. And nonetheless, it was in a leather strap match. So it was definitely a big stepping stone for Corey Lee. Corey, what stands out most to you in your championship reign?
My championship reign? I don't know. The fact that I've enjoyed it. The fact that I'm here on top as the champion.
How does it feel to work up since the 2009 season all the way to where you are now?
It was difficult. I mean, went from Dorgon, just insane, all the way up to international. Chris Jones. I wrestled Tommy
King of the
Merriman,
Mountain that you won?
King of the Mountain. Looking forward to eventually wrestling Hazard here. I've wrestled Genocide and Brandon Hobbs in a triple threat match. I'd have to say
As
that
the champion.
as the champion. That was probably one
Was
of
a
my
nominee for match of the year.
one of my favorite matches, honestly, because that was a really good match. It flowed really well. Both are good competitors, you know. It's a really tough match, but still, you know, came out on top.
Genocide? Anything stand out to you?
Other than he has an attitude now, being leader of the Untouchables, like I said, like everybody else has said, about how he's, well, you got BK3 here. Like everybody else says, how he's worked his ass off to get to where he's at. But the leather strap match stuck out in my mind. The triple threat that he said with me, him, and Brandon stuck out in my mind. Those are two really good matches.
Other than yourself, obviously. Hazard, who's your favorite XCW champion of all time and why?
All time. Simple fact. Me and him were buddies for a while. You know, we had our ups and downs, whatnot. But he, longest reigning XCW champion. I took a belt from him, but he just always goes out there. He gives it his all.
And he always doubts himself too, which is something that I never understood about Cynical.
I know, we'd be sitting backstage and we'd be like, I'm gonna lose this match.
Man, I suck.
What? Why are you gonna lose? This guy's really good. He's gonna kick my ass.
I'm gonna mess up my moves. I don't even have a finisher. That was his thing for a while. I don't even have a finisher.
I know you were there with him too at one point.
James Cerebral,
I love it.
in your time here and seeing some of the older tapes, who is your favorite XCW champion of all time?
Corey.
Any reason why? Corey Lee, you've seen some of the older tapes. You know a lot of the older wrestlers on this list here. You've been in the XW since 2009. Who stands out as one of your favorite XW champions other than yourself?
That's a really hard decision because honestly, it'd be a tie between Cynical and Chris Jones.
I can agree with that. I
agree with everything Hazard said about Cynical. And then, you know, Chris Jones, he goes out there, he's crazy, flipping off shit and everything else. He does what he's got to do to win the title, keep the title, you know, win a match. He likes to go out there and put on a show whether he says it or not.
Genocide? Other than yourself?
Well, I want to say what these two said, what he said.
Cynical and Chris Jones. Any specific reason why for you?
Because
For a long time, they were top dogs in XW.
right, and I know it's already been said, but well, about Cynical it has, but not about Chris Jones, to a point. They both have worked their ass off to do what they can to make a good match, especially with the title on the line.
Absolutely. And they put it all on the line out there. You know, I remember a feud between myself and Cynical in 2009. Hazard was a big part of that too, in the Canadian Army. Me and Cynical had some crazy ass matches for the XW title. We had a first blood, in which we both ended up bloody in the end. He finally beat me in the 3 stages of hell. That was a crazy match. Flaming table match, which was our first ever.
Concrete out there.
We had false count anywhere match. I got back body drop through a table, and my piercing on my ear caught on the table and ripped. Me and Cynical had some knockdown dragouts, for sure. Who on this list do you think is the strangest champion that you just absolutely cannot believe that they were actually champion? James Cerebral, what do you think? Who can you just absolutely not believe was ever an XCW champion?
I think you might get the same answer for everybody, maybe.
It just came out of nowhere.
I really don't. Some of these guys I don't even really know.
You are new in the XCW? Out of the people you do know, does any of them stand out to be, strange that they were XCW champion, or they just completely
Nightmare.
catch you off guard? Nightmare
Nightmare.
was
Scared
definitely
me.
one that caught me off guard.
He was a little weird.
I mean, all these years he worked up, and then all of a sudden, boom, he was in the title picture, and that was definitely one. Corey Lee, any for you? Is there any champions that stand out in your mind as being strange, or just all of the sudden?
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised DTC won it.
I can see that.
I am honestly surprised. He's won it one time, but he
One
won it.
time since 2003.
That match hurt.
And that was a long time ago. He hasn't won it since, but that stands out for me because that's just
That match
strange.
I can agree with Corey
Table
Lee on
match,
that.
and I cut my legs up real bad.
Any certain champions stand out to you?
I'm going to go with Steven Reigns.
I can see that one too. He came out of nowhere, cashed in Money in the Bank on Hazard. So yeah, that was definitely. It was actually kind of neat on the same respect, seeing Steven Reigns as a champion.
Right.
Hazard, any champions stand out to you that you just found strange or just a complete shock?
Watch vacant.
Vacant.
No,
You got to pick somebody.
probably one that sticks out most to me really is Cyborg.
Cyborg beating you.
He defeated me, and like everyone else, he's had to work his way.
He did. He definitely worked his way
He
up. Power
made that
Championship,
short
International.
little hiatus of not being there, and then
He worked up Power Championship, International Championship, XCW Championship. Another one that I agree with all of those. Those are all Nightmare, Steven Reigns, all of them. But a champion that really stands out in my mind that just completely took me by surprise was Brandon Hobbs.
that was my second choice.
Brandon Hobbs, debuted in 2008, and he debuted went straight after the Extreme Championship. Slowly built his way. He skipped the International completely, and boom, XCW champion. He won a Battle Royal at the very first show of the 2011 season. You guys were all, Hazard wasn't at, but you three were at. And then later that show threw your belt off the bridge.
I remember that.
But
Yeah.
that really caught me off guard.
I got my belt back.
Did go fishing.
No.
He was flopping in the water. I'll tell you what.
He can't swim.
That's why he was flopping.
Now, the XCW Championship has only been vacated once in
That's why I said
history.
that to you.
And that vacated. Psychor beat Hazard in a barbed wire table match at Cold Day in Hell 2006. Shortly after, in July, actually, there was a short hiatus in XCW in 2006. And with the hiatus came the hiatus of Fletch. Fletch was not a part of the 2006 season. That's me, of course. I was not a part of the 2006 season after I hit Chris in the face with the light bulb. And in that hiatus, in XCW's hiatus, Cynical decided that it was time for XCW to return, and while in the search of a new Extreme Championship Wrestling chairman, him and the board of directors brought the XCW back, and though Psychor was the champion when we returned, when the chairman was then announced, Skinny Chaos, Hazard here. Hazard's first act as chairman was to release Psychor, therefore putting it vacant. And while the championship was vacant, it created the ST1, which I think was one of the most memorable times in the XW Championship's history. And with that comes Chris Jones. And that was one of the craziest tournaments I think I've ever seen in my life. That is the only time that the XW Championship has ever been vacated, so you can imagine what that must have been like.
It was hell.
Well, we're getting ready to wrap up here.
Very help.
We're getting ready to wrap up, but I want to know what's in store for the XCW Championship in 2012. What do you think is going to happen this year? Are we going to see some repeats of the same old champions? Are we going to see some new champions coming up? Who do you think? What do you think?
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything. It's hard to plan. Because it'll go one way, they're just gonna go another way. You know what I mean? Friends might turn on friends.
Very well could happen. It's happened a million times in the past. Chris Jones especially, yeah.
And people's attitudes could change.
Really.
Maybe some are sick of being followed. Maybe they want to be a leader.
Corey Lee, 2012, next Saturday is
Excuse.
it's Cold Day in Hell 2012. And 2012 season begins officially March 10th with X-Rated. Anything in the foreseeable future, maybe even after your title reign? Or are you
Well-
going to hold it the entire season?
Well, right now, I'm going to do my best to hold this title. It's around my waist. I'm not going to give up. It doesn't matter who I face. You know, in the end, I'm going to try to come out on top as champion. In Genocide, Cold Day, me and you. I actually want to wish you luck in the match, okay?
That's cute. Okay.
I'm being serious. I'm actually looking forward to this match.
If it's anything like your guys' Night of Champions match, it's going to be a great contest.
I want to say this is going to be better than that because I'm just going to I'll be fair because he did it to me. I'll wish you luck too, in mutual respect. Because I'm going to say this right now, Corey Lee. This is my specialty. I will make you tap.
You'll make me tap.
If I have to break
Somebody's got to tap. Ultimate
if I have to
submission.
break your ankle, I will make you tap.
Well, you better breathe
Tap
because
for
you
the snap.
forget. You simply forget that I do know submission moves too.
I'm the man of submissions.
We'll see. Cold Day.
Genocide. What do you think's going to happen? Are you going to walk out if Cold Day is champion? And where's the championship going to go? Any new champions? Anything?
I'm seeing myself walk out of Code Day in Hell as the new world champion, which would make me a 9-time world champion. But if it somehow gets to the point where I'm wrestling and he has to cash in on me, trust me, Hazard, I will come after you.
Hey, you never know. You guys could be the main event of Summer Mania 8. He could cash in at Summer Mania. He has until Halloween Havoc to cash in. Hazard? Anything in the foreseeable future for the XCW Championship?
Well, obviously I am going to cash in sometime. I have to, or else I'd lose it. I would like to see some new champions, some new people work their way up. James Surreal being one of them. Crisis,
Carnage, maybe?
Carnage. I actually like Carnage.
Austin Chaos, maybe? Your cousin? Colton Kravitz?
No, I hope not.
To both of those, I'm taking it?
Just Austin.
Okay.
Uh,
Maybe Drago?
That would be the big. You say who wants the biggest shock? If you ever put Drago on this list, that will be my biggest shock ever.
I do want to. Sorry.
I'm speaking.
Alright.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, going back to that, Nightmare was unmasked when he won, so that doesn't count. But seeing a masked character with like Eternal Darkness or Devil or LOL or Joker or whatever wins the XCW World Title, that will be the biggest shock to me.
I can definitely.
I do have to correct you on something though. The leather strap match me and Brandon had, I did not win. I lost that. I won it 3 stages. in
You're
a row.
right, you are right.
That's when I won the title.
It took him this long.
No, I knew, but I didn't want to correct him at the beginning.
No, he is right.
Should've
I just
done.
think he just-
But that is one of my most memorable matches in him.
Yeah, the leather strap match was really good. Now continue. Now continue.
Anyone that you, specifically that you want to see as XCW champion? Just James Cerebral, Carnage Crisis, maybe Colton, Drago, people moving up in the ranks. Nobody wants to see me as the XCW champion. Come on.
Maybe. I might want to. You never
You
know.
laughing about Colton?
I like